Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chris, and here we talk about business, candle making, and how to boss up. And in today's video, I'm gonna be talking about this love-hate relationship that I got with soy wax because I've been getting so many comments about y'all thinking about giving up because of this soy wax. And I truly understand because I did quit and, I found the courage to try it again. So let's get into it. So soy wax, like many other waxes, are very finicky and it takes a little bit of finessing. You have to really, learn her. You have to, seduce her. You have to get to know her. You have to date her a little bit, okay? Before y'all just fall in love. But I will say, once you get over that large hump, you will love it. Like, I really love soy wax now. Like, I thought I wouldn't, but I had to finesse it. I really had to finesse my soy wax. It was a long journey, but I'm glad I trekked on it, and I'm glad that I stuck with it because I do want to try other waxes. I'm actually super excited to try other waxes, but soy wax is my first love. You know what I'm saying? We've been through some things. And so I wanted to talk about why I have this love-hate relationship with soy wax and some of the things that I struggle with. I do have another video on this, but I've been getting a lot of comments on people hating soy wax just as much as I did when I first started. So I thought I'd make an updated video and some things and tricks and tips that I use to help make my soy wax better, shape her up a little bit. I feel like soy wax is hard to work with because there are some things that happen to soy wax when you make candles that is a little bit frustrating. For example, frosting, I hate frosting. I hate frosting, and I know I'm not the only person that hates frosting. Frosting, for those of you who don't know, is this ashy-like texture that covers the tops of your candles after they cure, after they've been sitting, after they're done and made. They just look ashy, and I hate frosting, and it really made me feel like I was doing something wrong. But I'm here to tell you that no, that's just how soy wax is. Like, frosting is a thing, it happens, and I don't really know why it happens. And sometimes you just can't get rid of frosting. It's just what it is. So some things that I do to help my frosting is I do mix my soy wax with a tiny bit of IGI 6006, and I put a tiny bit of that, and it just makes my candles look a lot more cohesive, put together, milky, and overall, it just doesn't look ashy. And I love moisturized things. My skin, my hair, my nail. I just like moisture. And so I just don't want things that I'm selling to look ashy. So I found this hack, and I've been using it since I learned about it. And it doesn't affect my hot throw. It doesn't affect my cold throw. If anything, it makes it stronger. But honestly, looking at my frosted candles made me really question if I was doing something right or wrong when I first started making candles, and I really just didn't like how it looked. And I feel like there's other things that you can do by adding other natural waxes to soy wax if you want to stay a clean candle. But I opted for IGI 6006 because, one, I just like how milky that wax is. And I want to try apricot wax too, but y'all know it's sold out. But I really like how smooth and milky the 6006 is. When I first started making candles, soy wax was definitely the first wax and only wax that I used when I first started. And up until this point, with an exception of some tart waxes and IGI 6006. I haven't made a full candle with that IGI, but I do incorporate it into my candles. And I said before that I did quit making candles, and I did wholeheartedly quit making candles because I was like, yo, this is hard. And I got lucky because the first batch of candles that I ever made came out so amazing. they were so fire, with an exception of like me not understanding that wig size matters, and if you have the wrong wig size or a wig too big, it can light a fire. With an exception of like, oh, maybe I put too much fragrance on, you know what I'm saying? But like, you know, it did what it did, and I loved it. So I thought, oh my gosh, I'm about to make the best candles in the world. And I soon realized that it was harder. The more that I dove in, the more that I learned, the more that I committed to like really making this into a business, I realized that I was doing everything wrong. And when I really started following the rules, I realized that like, yo, this is difficult. This is hard. This is patience. I really got to take notes. I really got to keep a book, a little black book, and really understand this wax for what it was. And so what really helped me, I joined so many groups. I joined so many community platforms that would help me make better candles. And so if you're struggling, I would say lean into the candle making community. I was on Facebook. There are a gang of Facebook groups. I would highly suggest you join them. And you can just really just ask questions to a bunch of strangers, and they'll like help and give you feedback, whether it's your labels, whether if you need help with your labels or want to know what people think about your labels, whether it's, oh my gosh, is this a good melt pool for the amount of time my candle has been burning? Like, oh my god, I can't get a strong hot throw for anything. Do you guys have any suggestions? This is what type of wax I'm using. And I guarantee you that some people will really respond and really help and like volunteer their help to you. And I learned so much by being a ghost follower on some of these pages. And then I started jumping in there and asking my own questions and like getting responses and getting answers, and really dove into creating a community. So if you're struggling, definitely follow some Facebook groups. Definitely lean into some people that may have been making candles for years that would love to offer their guidance to new candle makers. I'm just gonna remind you that whatever wax that you use is gonna take patience, and like, yes, there is a such thing as beginner's luck. That when you first start out, everything might be great and grand, and you're like, oh my god, I could totally do this. But when it comes to like really making this into a business, you quickly learn like there are like cautionary steps that you have to take to like protect yourself, protect your business, and protect your own coin. And it is something that I myself had to learn. But I'm sure a lot of you are also struggling with, you know, I get comments about like, just hot throw with 464 wax, and it is a process. Like, what may work for me may not work for you. And like one rule of advice that I would give is like, there's so many resources on the internet, and resources to me are guides to help lead you into figuring out your own formula to make a candle that works for you personally. Yes, there are things that work for everyone, but I think it takes some trial and it takes some error for you to like really figure out how to make it best for your liking. Because also keep in mind, like the people that you watch, the tutorials that you see, everything, like you're not able to smell what they smell. So if they're talking about how much of a good hot throw their candles have, what may be good to them may not be good to you. And what may be good to you may not be good to them. And so someone could be talking about how they hot throw is the shit, okay? Whole house on deck. And they lie. You know what I'm saying? They may be feeling it. I'm not saying they lie. You know, they could be feeling it. But, you know, some people may consider a strong hot throw as like, oh, like I'm 2 feet away from my candle and I can smell it. Others may be like, oh, like I walked into my house and my whole house smelled like this candle. Right? Like being very like cautious, like, okay, like what may be good to this person that I'm learning how to make this candle from may not be good to me. And so when you're following these tutorials or doing what other people are doing, to keep in mind that like, hey, our expectations may be different. Using these things as guides, trying them out and seeing, okay, I did learn this from this process, but this process over here was something that I felt worked better, and incorporating, right? That's why I like building community with people to see what works for them. And like, you can really take and pick tools from other people to figure out what works best for you. Like you can blend waxes. Don't sleep on that. Like I blend my wax with IGI 6006, you know, like don't be afraid to like merge waxes to get the type of texture that you want, to make the type of like candle that you want. Like you can do whatever you want as long as you're testing it and making sure that it's a safe candle. But really, like, don't be afraid to play around, like especially in the beginning stages of your business. And that is the time that you can mess up and you can have grace to figure it out, and people won't bash you over not having it correct and not having it all the way together up front. Yeah, so like that was like the main thing that I had to understand, that like although yes, like I'm getting feedback from other candle makers and I'm watching tutorials and I'm doing research and finding like articles on Google and like how to do what I'm trying to do, also keep in mind that like my expectations and this person's expectations could be totally different, and what they consider great may not be what I consider great. And so I will take what they give me and like learn like the process, and then take that process and tweak it into my own process. I say when you're making candles with soy wax, I use golden wax 464. It's 464, I believe. I heat my wax to 160. Do I hit it? Yeah. I heat my wax to 160 and I add my fragrance oil at 145. 140, 145, and I pour out 120. That works for me. I love the way my candles come out. Sometimes lately I've been having sinkholes because I've been a little impatient when I'm pouring, so I've been pouring a little bit early. But I have not had a huge problem with sinkholes when I pour around 120 and sometimes 115, but I feel like I get a great scent throw. I was using 8%, which I liked, but I did up it to 10%, and I love the way my candles smell. Like no gripes here, but I'm literally just now getting to this place, and I have been making candles, but I took some time to tweak my formula and like really get my life together. And I enjoy it. And so I understand that you really may be questioning if this was a right decision that you made, buying all this wax, buying all these jars, and buying all these wax. But give it a go. Have a little bit of patience. Understand that this is a process, learning process. If you're trying to figure out if there's something that you want to do, give yourself a deadline, time limit, whatever. But also give yourself some grace, because like I've been making candles maybe like 3 years now, and like I'm just at a place where I'm like, yo, these bang. Like I'm proud of these. I thought I was there, but like, you know, you get better with time. The more you do something, the better you get at it. So have some grace with yourself. And I really hope this helps. It's a love-hate relationship, because some days my candles still come out trash. But like write everything down. Like literally, like really write every single thing you do to your candle down. Like something, I don't think I have a candle right here, but on my candles I have painter's tape and a Sharpie, and I write down added wax at 130 this time. Test, play with different temperatures, play with different things. Like really pay attention to what you're doing when you're making these candles. But yes, I label my candles when I make them. Like added fragrance oil at 120, at 140, heated the wax to 175, poured the wax at 130, and I will make a gang of different candles with a gang of different formulas and let them cure, light them, test them, and see how I like those. Like that's how I started out, with just really trying different things, trying different temperatures to add fragrance oils, trying different temperatures to heat my wax to, trying different temperatures to pour at, and literally documenting that down. I like my notebook is like damn near full of just formulas that I've tried, and if I like it, then I stay with it. And that's what's worked for me. But you have to know your product. You have to know what you're making, like really down to the T, so that you can mimic it and reproduce it, and know that each candle will come out the same way you made that one candle that you liked. Some fragrance oils just aren't very fragrant at all. So sometimes it's not even something that you're doing. Sometimes the fragrance oil is just whack. I love Candle Science, and I have had no issues with Candle Science. I think they're a little bit expensive. But like their fragrance oils, top tier. Like, I don't think I've ever had a bad fragrance from Candle Science that has smelled very dull. At least the fragrances that I chosen. Fragrances I didn't like, yes, but that's another story. But dull smelling, no. That's why I'm like, okay, this brand makes very strong sense. Also, Wooden Wick has very great scents. I did try Nature's Garden. I did like Nature's Garden. Some people don't, but I haven't had any problems with them. But like, knowing who you're buying your fragrances from as well matter, because I hear that some fragrances are watered down, some fragrances don't perform well. It's just the fragrance itself, and those are chemicals, and like, you know, someone makes those chemicals, so their products are not up to par. That could also be affecting your candle as well. So invest in quality fragrance oils too, because I bought a fragrance from, what is it, General Wax. I used to live in LA, so General Wax Candle Supply was like down the street from me, and so I found them and I ordered fragrance oils from them, and when I say they're strong, they're strong. So yes, so like little things like that matter, and I hope this video helps. I will leave you guys with that. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave me a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe because it does help me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. You told me I could trust you. Don't die. I could really use it. Everybody need love, even niggas like me. You told me I could trust.